Good evening, everyone. We'd like to welcome you to the January 21st, 2020 regular board meeting of the Forsyth County Board of Education. That would be the first meeting of 2020 and of the decade. So if you would all stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Salute. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Any needed changes to the agenda or anything?
No, no changes.
All right, is there a motion to approve the agenda as presented?
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Tom, second by Nancy. All in favor? That's unanimous. First up, we have recognitions that led by Fonda Harrison.
It is on. Good evening. Thank you for being here tonight. For my favorite part of the agenda, always, is the opportunity to recognize different students and staff from Forsyth County Schools for their outstanding performance. First, we would like to recognize, and when I call your name, if you'll stand up, walk down the side here, come across and shake hands, and then go back around. First, we want to recognize Cy Palaretti. Cy, come on down. Cy actually won first place in the 2019 National FBLA PBL stock market game. So congratulations to Cy. Cy is a 7th grade student at South Forsyth Middle School. So for those that have supported Cy, if you'll stand up, obviously Cy's little brother. Maybe not. Maybe not. Congratulations. And also, we would, for our Employee of the Month, we would like to recognize Robbie Wilbanks from Sawney Elementary School. So, Robbie, if you'll come around. Robbie has to stand right here for a moment while I read these nice comments about her and her work at Sawney. These are just a few comments that staff members that she works with made about her. Robbie dedicates herself to students and the teachers she works with every day. I've known Robbie for 19 years, and I've seen her dedication to everyone around her. Someone else said, Robbie is always willing to work with the children and help the teachers in any way that she can. She sees what needs to be done and does it without asking. And lastly, Ms. Wilbanks is a light that shines brightly every day at Sawney Elementary. Congratulations. We'd like to thank Jim and Nix for sponsoring our employee spotlight every month. And if there are family and staff that are here to support Robbie, if you'll stand up too, thank you very much. Now I'll turn it over to the Superior Spotlight. Is that Vickery Elementary? Okay, thank you. That's it.
If everyone could stay through the Superior performance, we will take a brief break after that before we start the business.
Is that good, Shay? You wanna go?
Yep. Yep.
I almost just said good morning. Sorry about that. Good evening. Good to see you all. Thanks. I'm Kristen Reedinger from Vickery Elementary.
And I'm Shay Wortman. I serve as a SEL support at Vickery Creek Elementary.
And we're here to talk a little bit tonight about Community Connect. This is an initiative in the West Community of Schools that we actually just kind of jumped off the ledge with this year just to get it started and see what we could do. But we talk a lot in our schools about social and emotional support and learning for students and building healthy environments. And actually over the course of the last couple of years, at our local school council meetings, we would finish our business and then we would continue to have conversations about things that parents were struggling with personally, really, in terms of raising children. And just as a mother, I concur. It is not an easy time to raise children. And so a lot of our local schools council members just kind of talked about living in the most connected world that we've ever seen and yet feeling kind of disconnected as parents in terms of truly having a network of support for dealing with everyday things that we deal with as parents, and also some really big, harder topics like anxiety and depression, suicidal ideation, all of those types of things. So anyway, Shay and I and a couple of members of our local school council who are also parents and incidentally have students in all of our schools in the West Vertical, put this together and said, let's give it a whirl, see what we can do to support the families of the West community, and then kind of see where we go from there. So let me just say this. This is our big mission piece that you can see. But the important part is that Community Connect really seeks to create a place where parents can get information, glean ideas, create solutions for their families, and build a network of support. And we're a leader in Me School. We have a huge focus on proactivity. And so we're trying to really go after a proactive approach to health and wellness in the community by trying to reach out to families. All right.
And this has served more purposes than we could have really foreseen when we started this. It's also helped us to build bridges with local businesses and industry professionals in the area, and we've called on pediatricians, we've called on local counselors and therapists, as well as business leaders in the community to come in and talk about a variety of topics that came directly from parents and that things that they were interested in, topics that they were interested in hearing about. So you'll see here kind of a weekly, we meet every Wednesday night, and the doors open at 5:30 with a family-friendly meal that parents only pay $5 for. And we feed the whole family, and we eat together as a big family, and then we have free childcare. So the kids are taken to an area where they can participate in games and whatever, and the program starts at 6 o'clock, and the way we've set it up is for the industry professionals to introduce the topic and talk about some key talking points, but then to serve as a facilitator for discussions among parents, because what we really want is those close relationships built among parents so that they feel like there's someone to rely on, because especially in the current climate with mental health being so in the forefront of what we need to talk about, we need to make it safe for parents to talk to each other about the struggles that they see.
And interestingly enough, we have had a lot of people that come back again and again. It's actually not for the really a cost-effective meal. But we have found that over time, a lot of people talk to us about maybe filming these sessions or some of that, but really our end in mind, exactly like what Shay said, is to really, truly connect people. And so it's interesting to see the families that keep coming back, maybe even if their children are not necessarily the ages of the particular topic that we're discussing. And it really is like a birth to 12th grade initiative. These are just some of the topics that we've talked about this year.
Some of our the ones that foster the most discussion have to do with social media and technology and the use of that and how to establish safe boundaries around those topics. So that is a really good one. And anytime we talk about transitioning kids from elementary to middle, from middle to high. We get a lot of, and we've partnered with counselors vertically to come in and talk about kind of hot topics at those different levels, and those are very well attended.
The other ones that I think have been particularly helpful, we owe a lot of gratitude to some of the industry professionals that Shay mentioned. We have a pediatrician that has come actually and done 2 sessions already. She's going to do a 3rd in the spring. But all of these people are seeing the same problems in their industry. And this particular pediatrician was talking about not so many years ago, it was rare to have a child in one of the rooms in the office that was struggling with depression or anxiety. And she says, in just a short amount of time, almost all of the rooms have children who are struggling with those things. So these people from outside of education are coming and volunteering. We don't pay them at all. They come, they volunteer their time. They are so open and generous to parents. And I think it's lovely because they do their little presentation piece and then the parents have a short Q&A. And then more than anything, they sit at the table and they join us, because they're parents too, and they join us and we literally trade ideas about healthy nutrition or sleep schedules, or how to help talk to your child who may be overwhelmed about school or athletics or whatever. So that has been really, truly a partnership across the board. We owe them a lot of gratitude for that. And then also, we have just some other people to thank too that have been really helpful.
Yes, and they've helped to help with the cost of the food. And again, we don't pay any of our speakers, so they do that strictly voluntarily. But they've helped to make it possible on both sides of the equation for us to be able to feed families who come to visit.
And if you, so all of this kind of operates off of our website. We have a West Community Connect website. If you want more information, hello, beautiful children, there is, you can visit our website. And like as we said, originally this was set up to serve the families in the West community of schools. But we've actually found we've had a couple of calls from...
We've had calls from outside the county.
Yeah, that's true.
Of people willing or wanting to come and at parents asking, I saw your website, someone saw it on Facebook or saw it on Instagram and we're interested in coming. And of course, we would never turn a family away who wants to come regardless of where they're from, but definitely outside of our vertical cluster too.
Yeah.
We've had people attend from the North cluster. We've had students from Midway, Kelly Mill. So we've had several people come.
And I think these people are, again, it just depends on the topic. So all of it is digital and it's super easy for people to access. You can see our event schedule, and then literally parents just go in and they click on one of these things and they sign up. They can buy the whole series. And then it flags us. We know how much food to order for the most part. And then it's pretty self-sustainable. Our intention at this point is really to open it up to the entire district, because I think parents are talking to other parents in sports or church or what have you, and that's really our entire intention behind it, is just to build a place where people can come and have very real conversations about the things that are a struggle. If you are interested, and if you're not able to attend a session, we do have a blog, and so we do a blog after every session so that people can follow or catch up or get information. It is also an opportunity there for us to thank our sponsors, our food sponsors, and also the professionals that come and spend their time. Question?
What kind of participation do you have?
It really depends on the
just a
session. I would
range,
say
just a range.
the smallest was 15 or 17,
Okay.
and the largest was like 55 maybe,
Okay,
something like that.
just curious.
I think it really depends on the session.
Topic, right.
I like that the time is just it's a reasonable amount of time. It's not a huge commitment. It's enough to get there, have a nice little relaxing dinner, and still get home in a decent hour and do homework.
Right. I think that's definitely our elementary lens on that, because that was the feedback we got from parents, was we really need to be able to leave by 7 o'clock so that we can get people home and bathed and.
The other piece of feedback that we've gotten, and we have a team, like I said, there are a couple of parents that are on this steering committee with us, and then we actually have reached out to the schools and tried to get somebody, a person from each school to kind of sit in as we go into planning for next year. And really, some of the feedback we've gotten from parents already is that to have it on a consistent night each week might be a little difficult, because if your child is involved in something specific, they may have practice every Wednesday night, and it makes it not possible for them to attend anything. So we're looking through the spring at maybe some different timing options and those types of things. And eventually, I mean, we're really honestly looking for a location change too. We don't really want it to be an elementary initiative. We don't want it to be a Vickery initiative. We used that because the principal let us use the building. And because we could fall back on technology if it didn't work well, we, could provide the childcare. So I think as it grows, we're looking to kind of expand some of those things and provide maybe a more centralized location for all families.
What about time commitment from staff? I mean, this is a huge commitment.
Tired.
Yeah. I mean, so is it the same staff pretty much every
It's us, yes.
Wednesday night doing this?
Yeah.
Wow,
But-
that's just,
But here's, I may have shared this with you. The truth of it is, we both are very tired on Wednesdays. And at about 5 o'clock, we're both thinking, what were we thinking? And then when people come in and we either get something, I mean, honestly, I have gained so much for my personal family from other parents who are just doing the same thing I'm doing and trying to figure it all out. Either from that or watching some of the families that we maybe know their struggles and they're coming and being able to make use of that, or watching the same families come back again. It's completely worth it.
yeah.
Every bit of it.
I'm sure it's re-energizing, but it's also, just speaks volumes about how you guys go above and beyond to serve your community, which is not unrecognized and very much appreciate it. You mentioned the social media conversation and just, that's an issue throughout the district. In fact, at our next parent and community advisory, Kristen Duschel is presenting on digital citizenship, and I'm really hoping that will get more information out because we've got a great toolbox on our website.
We do.
Hard to know exactly how much that's being utilized, but we want to make sure our community knows those resources are available, and it's a great conversation for families to have about, the proper use and how much time, and our kids are plugged in. We know they're plugged in. The challenge is getting them to unplug. And I love what you said at the beginning about, it'd be one thing to film this, but you don't get the same, you're not going to get the
Same connection.
yeah, the same connection. It's just so important, and I love the family-style meal. You sit down, and that's where great conversations take place. So, just kudos to you guys for going above and beyond, as you always do.
Thank you. It's been our pleasure.
Thank you for
Great
sharing
job.
that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, we'll take a little break if anybody wants to exit. Now would be a good time before we start the business portion of our meeting.
Good evening. Tonight, we're going to talk about the December 2019 financial statements. As always, we are to keep in mind Goal 3, effective and efficient financial planning. For the month of December 31st, 2019, the cash equivalents from the previous month was $175 million. After taking consideration cash receipts and cash disbursements, we ended the month at $168.8 million. This time last year, we were $155 million. On revenue, for the month of December, we were at 69.41% collection rate. This time last year, we were at 68.49, so we're about a percentage point ahead of last year. On the ad valorem tax, we were at 95.43, so we're just slightly down from last year on that collection. On expenditures, at the end of the month, we were at 50.42% in expenditures year-to-date. Last year, we were at 49.93, so we're about 0.55 ahead of last year. But between revenue and expenditures, we're slightly ahead. December 31st, debt service cash analysis. As you can see, we had 48.8, 23.9, 11.7, and $84.5 million in those different categories. Last year, we were at 38.5, 18.4. The only one we're slightly behind on is SPLOST 5 Treasury Money Market, 12.1, and we only had $69 million total last year. So we've got money collected to make our payments due
Right.
February and September this year. In terms of overall investment summary, we're slightly behind last year, and that's because we've made some payments last year, big payments last year in September. We're at 226. Also, we paid a lot in construction costs the last several months. Last year, we were about 248. The good news on the collections, as you can see here, we have a total average of 3.3. The last 12 months has actually been 3.4, so it's slightly up. If we compare this to last year, the average of this time last year was 3.253. So if we look at the total average, we're actually up $73,369 on average. But if you look at the last 12 months, we're up $117,000 a month over last year in collection rates. Overall, the last 12 months have been up on average almost $104,000 more than the previous average for the previous months. Any questions on that? So it's coming in well. The elementary beginning balances, receivables, disbursements are in the normal range. Same thing with middle and high school. The middle schools are actually ahead a little bit last year. They're at 2.1 this year versus, they're a little bit down. They're at 1.8 versus 2.1 last year. The other two are slightly up. And for December 2019, all three school areas were at $11.2 million. This time last year, we're only at 10.4. So there has been some definite collections done at the elementary and high school level. And that is the December 2019 financials.
I had one question.
Yes, sir.
I understand in January, the TAVT is going down 0.4%. Are we planning to watch for that and see what kind of impact it made? Because it replaced, the standard ad valorem tax, and they were going to keep it the same many years ago, but now they're reducing it from 7% to 6.6%.
Right, we'll keep an eye on
So,
that going forward. And
see
if
how
there's
it
any
goes.
changes, I'll give you a holler.
Okay.
In fact, I'll try to give you something next month about that.
Any other questions? All right. Okay, all good?
All right, thank you very much.
All right, Mr. Wenning, construction update. A little cold out there for y'all today.
Evening. Well, fortunately, we're fighting through it. I don't want that.
Better than wet.
Better than wet, yeah.
Well, we get either or lately, right?
Did that storm cause you any issues, the one that came through?
Well, it depends which project.
Okay, all right.
Right. So I'll go through the detail of that. Good question. But fortunately, we have been fighting through some of the challenges of the winter weather the past month. This is East Forsyth High School, and as you might recall me saying, in the summer and fall, what was really critical was that we get all of the slabs on grade in before we encountered this weather. So while the site is either saturated or frozen, masonry continues, structural steel continues, and the roofing continues. So overall, fortunately, East Forsyth High School remains ahead of schedule. That's the other back view of it, and gymnasium in front. So you see the site coming together. Obviously, the building is more critical path than the site. So East Forsyth High School continues to progress extremely well. We're well positioned. This is the overview of ACE PAC. So now Performing Arts Center is formally named as Forsyth County Arts and Learning Center Focal. So I'll probably interchange those names, but together we'll use, as Jennifer would like us to, the new name Focal. So to orient you, right, we're in the boardroom right here now. So fortunately, we have begun deep foundations in the Focal. For ACE PAC, we're currently working on the building pad. The favorable news is geotechnical. We do not have rock on this site, unlike some of the others. One of the challenges, though, we have encountered in a critical area of this retaining wall is unsuitable soils, so we're currently remediating that. And the team is working extended hours, extended days. As a last resort, we would work a Sunday and over Martin Luther King holiday, but that's what we had to do on this, and we did it. We're obviously sensitive to the holidays and sensitive to Sunday, but schedule remains paramount, so we did move forward with that. This is an overview. Again, you see the deep foundations in the Performing Arts Center and the building pad of Academy for Creative Education taking shape.
Looks like an archaeological dig.
Yeah, it's deeper,
Yeah.
given the Performing Arts Center versus the traditional buildings that we've got, Slavon grade. So this is West Forsyth High School. This shot was taken a week ago, so if you go out there today, the scaffolding is down. Similarly to what you heard me say in summer and fall, it was critical for us to get enclosed with all the windows, with the roof on, which is what West Forsyth High School Edition has successfully executed. So winter weather doesn't matter. Interiors, we have climate control in place. The mechanical, electrical, plumbing, rough-in inspections are complete. So we're working on interior finishes, and furniture is scheduled for April. So we're ahead of schedule with FF&E to be ready for fall of this year.
Looks like it's always been there. It just blends in beautifully.
Yeah, sometimes really worked hard on the brick match. Sometimes you don't get that. 10 years later, you try to match something, but this one came out really nice. So from a narrative perspective, I think we've touched on all the projects that are underway. The others are complete as we did the photos. So moving to the elementary schools and middle schools. Again, fortunately for Pools Mill Elementary School, you see the roof complete, all the windows in, so we're dried in, temporary heat. Climate control is in place, which similar to what I described at West, it's allowing interior finishes to take place such that winter weather doesn't impact us with the, I'll call it slight variable of obviously the landscaping and sod needs to take place, but we can do that in March and April once everything thaws. And similarly to West, we've got furniture coming in, already coordinated FF&E beginning in April, so well ahead of schedule on this as well. This is the back view, obviously the bus parking and student entry. And this is the overview, obviously animated with what Hendricks will become. And you see Hendricks successfully has gone through all of the clearing and grubbing over the past month. We're currently working now in the building pad as well as site utilities underway. Also, we have several projects now that are in the final stages of design for several of the middle schools. You'll see that the next up is Liberty and North Forsyth Middle School. The agriculture lab and technology lab renovations will take to the board after the mid-February, March procurement. We'll take that to the board in March. And the other middle school projects with security vestibules, Lakeside Middle, as well as Otwell, River Watch, South Forsyth Middle, and Vickery Creek, taking place in April. The idea that's common to all of them is to procure all the long lead items, as we're very sensitive to existing operations at each of those campuses, allows us to obtain all the long lead material to hit the ground running the first day after school completes in May. Which really limits the duration of any impact or noise, dust disruption to existing classrooms. And other than that, the major outlier then becomes Elementary School 23. Design is underway there, and we'll look to procure that in the fall. And that's where the program currently stands. Any questions?
Sounds good.
Great, thank you.
Thank you very much. All right. Next, we have election of officers. It's kind of a big year for one of our members. First of all, I want to say thank you. It's been an honor and a privilege to serve as chair this year. We have a great group, and I think we worked well together. Nancy is already in her 20th year on the Board of Education, 20th and final, so kudos to Nancy for that. Is that the longest person, has that ever been on the Board of Education for Forsyth that we're?
Jennifer, you probably just have to look back at records. I would think so.
So kudos to you. So this is a big year for Nancy. So we'll put out the slate and the vote as a whole. So for 2020 this year, Nancy Roche will be the chair. Myself will be the vice chair and the legislative liaison. Wes will be the attendance protocol committee representative. And Tom will remain on as the drug council liaison. He kind of keeps us in touch with that. Is there a motion to accept that slate?
So moved.
Motion by Tom, second by Darla. All in favor? That's unanimous. Thank you. Next is bus purchase for 2021 with Michael Satterfield.
Good evening, y'all. Happy New Year. As you guys know, part of the 2018 bond was dedicated to the investment in new school bus purchases for Forsyth County schools that allow us to address needs that are created by growth, ridership, and also allows us to decrease the overall age of our fleet and be responsible stewards when it comes to Forsyth County investment and maintenance of buses, as well as increase the number of spares that we have on site at any given time. So on that note, based on our numbers that we've worked on in our department, I'd like to share that we're asking Dr. Bearden to recommend approval of the purchase of 26 new school buses, 18 72-passenger buses, as well as 8 48-passenger lift buses to service our special needs population. The overall cost for that purchase will be $2.38 million.
Recommend approval.
Any questions? Is there a motion to approve that purchase?
Second.
Motion by Nancy, second by Tom.
I do have a question, or at least statement. I noticed that the air conditioning is coming standard in these, so we don't have to add that on, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
It was standard last year, right?
Correct. When we purchased 50, a total of 50 buses. Our special needs buses have been
Right.
purchased standard with air before I started in
Yeah.
2017. But we started last year purchasing all new 72-passenger school buses with air conditioning as a standard feature, and we're going to continue that this year.
And lap belts,
So the,
right?
yeah,
We are, well, in our special needs buses, we do have belts. We are purchasing seatbelt-ready seat frames. Right now, seatbelts are not something that's being required either by the federal government or the state government for us to include in school buses. The compartmentalization offered by the seats is the safety feature. But if we are ever required to go down the road of having seatbelts for all of our student passengers, we're going to be prepared to make that installation with the frames that we're currently purchasing.
plus,
That was very smart, by the way. And in terms of the retrofitting of the air conditioning, we're still on target for around September, is that correct?
We should be. We've run into a delay here recently. There was a disagreement between our bus manufacturer and the vendor who was making an installation about an installation procedure.
Okay.
I guess we've met here over the last couple of weeks, and we resolved that today. So we should still be on track for an early fall completion date of that project. If that changes, I will make sure to update you. But as of right now, we should be on track with that.
Okay, awesome.
also my understanding is financing for at least the bulk of this comes from our previous bond.
Correct.
And you intentionally, again, if I'm wrong, correct me, don't purchase all the buses the first year with the bond money. You spread it out so that they all don't wear out at the same time.
That's correct. If, the reason that we spread the purchase is, number one, we need to take a look at need from year to year. But primarily from a maintenance perspective, we also have to take a look at warranties and warranty expiration and making sure that we're not creating a maintenance schedule with a bus purchase that's gonna cause a problem for our shop to keep on track and on calendar and with that schedule.
All right, so any more discussion? All those in favor? That is unanimous. Thank you.
Thank you, Mike.
All right, thank
Last
you all.
but not least, points of information, Dr. Bearden.
Yeah, just a couple things. You know, Tom gave the construction report, met with Paige Andrews, principal of Pools Mill Elementary last week. She just gave me just an overview of the work in progress there, and she is doing a tremendous job in terms of building community. Parent meetings are starting. She's building her PTO right now to get prepared. Also planning on when open house is going to be and all those types of things, meet and greet. And so we're in a really good place in terms of not only the physical piece of Pools Mill Elementary, but obviously the relationship, human piece of it. And of course, she'll be at the job fair ready to go. I know she's already got some folks on hand, right, Cindy? But she has done a tremendous job getting prepared. And I just want to say again, thank you for allowing our new principals to have that year to make that happen. I'm telling you, to try to do two jobs at the same time is a very difficult task. And I think what we're seeing with Paige having that entire year, I mean, she's going to be as prepared as anybody could be, just because she's had the time to put in that preparation work. So thank you for that.
Community too.
Yeah. Number two, we had our Advanced Placement District Honor Roll recognitions today for Forsyth County Schools for the 7th year in a row, and we should not take this lightly. It's such a huge honor. 7 consecutive years been named an AP District Honor Roll. This year, there are only 250 districts in the entire nation, only 5 in the state of Georgia. We're the only one to be a repeat recipient of that honor, and just really proud of that. What that means is we have more and more students every year taking advanced placement courses, and the diversity of those students taking those courses continues to increase every year as well. We're encouraging students who may previously not have thought about challenging themselves and trying to take an AP course to give that an opportunity, and we're getting a lot of success. And then our pass rate is, what'd she say, 70-something percent, amazing,
Which is,
yeah.
means a 3, 4, or 5 or
Yeah,
above,
it's
so.
incredible, so I'm just really proud of that. And I think you reminded me tomorrow's the 100th day of school, right? Who knew? Who knew? I didn't know that, so.
Glad the teachers are counting.
Yeah, it's a big day, so that's all
All
I have.
right, anything else anybody wants to share? All right, is there a motion to go in executive session for personnel?
So moved.
Motion by Tom, second by Darla. All in favor? That's unanimous.